It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. If I commit to make a shift, will you commit to give your gift? If we be the change.
All right. Welcome back to another powerful episode of Practical Spiritual Advice by Infinite You, which is me, which is you, which is we. Buckle up for the ride. Let's get it going. All right, folks. So I just want to dive in right now. This episode is called Connecting the Cosmic Dots, and I want to run through a bunch of dots. I want to connect them for you. I want to show you what we're working with here, how this cosmic storytelling is unfolding. And as of right now, today is April Fool's, so I'm not planning on fooling you with any of this. This is going to be true facts, true information per my journey. And I want to dive in. And again, that means today is April 1st, 2026. And we are on day number, let me count them here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, day number 8 of a 10-day galactic activation portal days. As you are familiar, if you've been tuning in, I go by the galactic calendar, which is a 13-month, 28-day system, and I will connect the dots to that as well. And today is also going to be a full moon, and I'm just looking at the calendar right now, and the synchronicity on that for me would be the time that this full moon is in its fullest moon, which is 7:11 p.m., which is the anniversary for me and my lovely wife, Amber. On 7/11 is when we decided was the date that we officially made it official, right? For us to be a couple. And so let's ride the synchronicities, connect those dots, and we can start from the beginning. So again, if you've been paying attention, you know what I'm about. Synchronicities all day, every day. I was born into a cosmic synchronicity at 11/22/77 at 11 p.m. sharp, and had my awakening the month I turned 33. And we can say that this is the first dot of the connection of this connecting the cosmic dots. So let's go ahead and keep track of this. So we got 11/22/77 at 11 p.m. sharp, like on the dot, 11 p.m. It's what is on my birth certificate. And then if we fast forward 33 years, we are looking at an awakening process, right? And there are many dots in between my first initial dot of my birth. But let's go ahead and start the story from there. And let's, bring in some information about some of the mainstream stuff that you'll see out there in the world that we've been living in, which is like, sports and cities and maps and timelines and stuff like that. But, I want to get us to the San Antonio Spurs, and I'm going to get to that later. But just stay tuned. Let's ride the wave, and I'll get to an alien that is playing on the San Antonio Spurs, right? In a person by the name of Victor Wembanyama. So this awakening process for me brought me into a cosmic storytelling of my own journey. And through this process, if we look from the 11th month of 2010, and then 6 months later, roughly 6-7 months around there, almost 8. But just so you know, Amber and I were dating before 7/11. We just decided 7/11 would be the official date. And so within 6 months, I'm finding my cosmic partner, another node, another dot in this story. And 6 months after that, roughly, there was an invite to a starseed gathering in Sedona, Arizona on 11/11/11. Now, the other dot to connect with that is when we went to this, starseed gathering where the 13 crystal skulls were on tour and made a stop through Sedona on 11/11/11. Didn't get a chance to see them. But if you do a little research on the 13 crystal skulls, some of the speculation is that they are not from this planet, and they are tools. And essentially, what we're looking at is 12 skulls and one to be in the center. Now, part of what I know is not all 13 skulls were there. There may have been some imposters. There may have been some extras that weren't part of the original set of skulls, and that's fine. I'm not going to dive into that, but I happen to have some key information on one of the crystal skulls that resides in Texas. And it has some connecting dots to me, my name as a herald, right? And then amber as a color in an article that was written and channeled by the owner of the crystal skull that I'm speaking of. And I can't give too much information. She asked me not to divulge everything, but I think we're coming to a point where this information is going to hit the mainstream here within the next few years. Because of some maneuvering that's been happening with this junction site of where this skull has been for the last 20 years. And so let's go back to Sedona, 11/11/11. This city that incorporated spirituality and the day-to-day and teaching the new children this new cosmic information, talking about chakras and energy and vortexes and all this really cool stuff. That's what that city meant for me, and it was the first time that I got to experience multiple people that were on this journey in real life. And it was an amazing experience, but Sedona will go ahead and move from there because after that adventure, after that trip, the information and another part of this cosmic dot story that I'm telling today brings us back to San Antonio and the idea and this intention to recreate in my own way what Sedona meant for me, but here in Texas, whether it was in the city or in the hill country of Texas. And the whole area is up for grabs, quite honestly. San Antonio is a key marker, kind of drawing the dots into the indigenous community that has resided here for 12,000 plus years. They referred to San Antonio as a cosmic city. And one of the dots to connect, we're going to shift to 2023, 10/14/2023 to be exact. And for those that remember that date in particular, that was the date of a Ring of Fire solar eclipse that came down from Oregon, and went right across Eugene, Oregon, and laid a path all the way down connecting to the Mayan ruins. And solar eclipse alignments are kind of my thing now. The major dot for me is turning the dot into a line of connection between dots. And so I'm going to give you an imagination, I want, if you will. You can look at a map also if you want, and I would highly suggest that. And you can even Google search solar eclipse Ring of Fire 10/14/23 and look at the path of totality. Let me show you where it connects. Let's connect those dots within the line. So the line is the solar eclipse path of totality. The dots are within it. And right now we have a map for sale that is called Read Between the Lines. And it has the dots and the lines. And within this line, as the solar eclipse came in from Eugene, Oregon, which Eugene, Oregon is the first stop in our dot story. And Eugene, Oregon just so happens to be the place where this galactic calendar that I referred to a little while ago, a few minutes ago, which we're in the midst of 10 consecutive galactic activation portal days, day number 8, April 1st, 2026, along with a full moon. This space of Eugene, Oregon has, it's the headquarters for Bob and Eden Sky Time. And you can go to 13moon.com and order your own calendar. They make a physical calendar. They've been doing it for over 30 years now. I need to reconnect with them. I'd like to find out if they chose that place, if they've always been there, or what the deal is. Why did they choose that location? Because Eugene, Oregon is the home to many solar eclipses. Once you start looking close enough at Eugene, Oregon and paths of totality eclipses, you will find that Eugene, Oregon is the nodal point for quite a few of these of the past and going to be in the future. And so on this particular one, the 10/14/2023, the eclipse comes in right at Eugene, Oregon. As it makes its way down through America, it goes across the place where millions of people, I think by this time now, have traveled, built art installations, and put lights on a lot of things, and then burned down the effigy, which is called Burning Man. And for that festival in Black Rock City, it's the first nodal point after Eugene. And if you continue along that path across America, you will find yourselves going right across the Four Corners. And the Four Corners is where the Hopi prophecy is held. And so that's another key nodal point with the ascension process and a prophecy of the rainbow warriors and the rainbow people coming together. And essentially what that means is all the different colors of the people coming together once again after we've experienced the pinch point, the pressure point of the world that we are currently in as we maneuver from the fourth world and transition into the fifth, and the information age, and the phoenix rising, and the right angle cross of the phoenix. And so hold that in your heart. Hopi prophecy, Four Corners. As we traverse even further, we find ourselves over Roswell, New Mexico. I think most people know about Roswell, the home in 1947 of where a particular crash happened that opened the eyes and the hearts and the conscious awareness of many people around the planet to connection to extra-dimensional beings, aliens, interdimensional beings, whatever you want to call them. But they are in a space that we would love to know more about. So let's keep traveling along this line as we find the dots. And as we make our way into Texas and then come into the hill country of Texas, we find ourselves at Utopia. Now, Utopia, that's not just, an idea, right, where everything is perfect. It is an actual city. It is a town named Utopia. And it just so happened to be right in the center path of the Ring of Fire solar eclipse. And then you make your way to San Antonio. And, I don't know if we're officially the sixth largest city in the nation, but we have been the seventh for at least 20 years. And let's just say that we are still the seventh largest city in the nation. We haven't reached that next level yet of the sixth largest. I like to call San Antonio the seventh tone. San Antonio. So calling it the seventh tone would mean that I am referring to the crown chakra. When you're looking at the 7 energetic points, major centers of a human being, which correlate to the violet ray, which is another part of a nodal point. If we just quick dive into the future, where our youngest daughter, Violet Ray Sunshine, is a part of this journey. We named her Violet Ray for a reason. Because we're hippies, man. We're spiritual people, so we like to name our kids all these really cool names so that way they can carry them forward. The only thing I'm dealing with right now, just to give you a little insider information about my life, is the three girls that I have, and them all having my last name, Honow, Hoenow. And for girls in public school, it's not a fun experience, and we're dealing with that. And I did arrange all of the girls to have an amazing middle name, so if they decided to, until they traversed the territory of knuckleheads, bullies, teenagers, and get into the adult arena, they can change their name back to Honow, if they decide to, or just go by their first and middle name. So anyway, the Honow is part of my journey. And as a guy, it's not as bad. Didn't realize how difficult life could be for a female Honow in the public school system. But my 13-year-old is going to be dealing with that in the very near future as she traverses from Montessori school into public school to finish out her schooling. I wish her the best, but she's a strong one, and I think she'll do fine. So the seventh tone, the violet ray, the crown chakra, after the path of totality makes its way down to the body of Christ. Corpus Christi. For those here in Texas, you're well aware of Corpus Christi. And if you're not familiar with Corpus Christi, that is a city that was in the center path of totality of that ring of fire solar eclipse. And Corpus Christi quite literally means the body of Christ. So this ring of fire, which is also a birthing term when you are naturally birthing a child, when the baby is crowning, they call it a ring of fire. And for women, you can probably clench your hoo-ha and be like, oh my God, I know what he's talking about. I can see how that would be a ring of fire. So we've got this ring of fire, part of the birthing process, going over nodal points, all these cosmic dots within this path of totality. And now we've reached the end of the Americas, of America, not the Americas, because we're actually going to rejoin the central part of America after the path of totality exits the body of Christ, enters the waters of our planet, the Gulf Coast, and that path, as it makes its way along the body of water, it re-enters land at the Mayan ruins in the Yucatan. So this is where the connection between the galactic calendar and the Mayan calendar are connected through an energetic path of alignment, essentially a portal in the sky, in my opinion, not just a moon covering our sun. It is essentially a portal that is opening up right before your eyes. And for a ring of fire, you need the solar eclipse glasses. And if you're ever going to look at a ring of fire solar eclipse, get your glasses from us. We still have plenty for sale. Find them on our Etsy shop, and you can find that at Infinite U 112277, I believe. You can find us. Go to our website, infiniteu.info, and click all the links and follow us everywhere that you can. We have some of the most amazing products on the planet, because they're not just solar eclipse glasses. As one of our products, we've also encoded them with our holographic stickers with the words love, trust, abundance, gratitude, and bliss, and we call that sticker the Sun Spiral. So now we have one nodal point, or one path of totality, one line, one large line with many nodal points within it that mean things. Now, the intention when you're within one of these paths of totality with the solar eclipse is what you put into the line to connect with the nodes. And so the intention of a new timeline, a timeline shift, would be shifting from the Gregorian calendar, which is an incoherent, disconnected, not cosmically attuned timekeeping system that has put us into time equals money, and money being the ruler of a lot of what we do, to a new calendar system, the galactic calendar. It's attuned to our cosmos. It's attuned to our human evolution. And so the galactic calendar is absolutely something that I promote. It's something that I use. I think that is the shift, a physical shift for us to stop looking at the Gregorian calendar and integrate this cosmically aligned calendar that allows you to find the nodes, connect all the cosmic dots to make your story, your journey, truly what it is meant to be, which is a life of synchronicities, a life of magic, a life of being beyond the scope of this realm that we perceive ourselves to be a part of, planet Earth, and just being held to the ground here, and takes us into the cosmos, into the sky, into the galaxy, connecting with planets and stars, and then our galactic emissaries, our friends, our higher selves, whichever way you'd like to look at it. So that is one line connecting with many dots. And 6 months later, we had another line, a totality eclipse, when it connected and overlapped the Ring of Fire eclipse, created a cosmic X. That cosmic X was San Antonio and the Hill Country and Utopia, Texas. And now we connect to Enchanted Rock and Mexico and the unbroken crystal bed in Arkansas underneath many, many people's feet. An event called Reconnection Festival in Astro Valley Art Park, or at Astro Valley Art Park, about an hour south of St. Louis. Now, in 2017, St. Louis experienced a totality eclipse, for those that remember. And the connecting the cosmic dots with 3 solar eclipses is essentially what I've done physically through travels and through being and living within an X marks the spot since the age of 12, when I moved to San Antonio, not knowing that my future, my destiny would hold many wondrous experiences that are here for humanity. And this is essentially the connecting the cosmic dots. This is what I'm here to show. This is why I'm talking about this. I want to express why, on a cosmic level, cosmic things happen over your head and under your feet and all around you. And when you talk about this, be about this, you find others that resonate with your heart. The center of you, essentially it's your 0 point. That's what your heart is. The 0 point free energy source has been underneath your nose the whole time. So, now, for those that have been paying attention, you know why I talk about solar eclipse paths of totality. You can find the Beings book on Amazon. Look up chapter 9. That's Solar Flash. That's my chapter. And it has more of the detailed stories of all this information that I'm speaking about now. So, part of the reason why I know about these 2 solar eclipses and the details of them, that was from our experience in Kerrville, Texas. Also an X marks the spot of the solar eclipses, with extra-dimensional, interdimensional, higher self beings. I mean, until they come down, or maybe I do a hypnosis and take a deeper dive into what that experience was, on the subconscious, and maybe we got abducted and lost some time and came back down, and maybe they put us right back in the exact same time, and the group of 8 of us all went up in a ship. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. I don't even know, right? But at the end of the day, what that experience was, with the lights on the ground, hanging out with us for 2 hours in Kerrville after I was invited to lead a CE5 meditation. That means Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, with an amazing group of people. the very next day is when I discovered the map of the two solar eclipses that were destined to crisscross over my head. And, this was on 7/15/2020 that I discovered this map. And, these dates, these times, these places, they're all dots. They're all cosmic dots. I mean, I see myself as a cosmic being in many ways. And I believe that we all are cosmic beings. We are all of the stars. We are energetic portals to information and experiences that mean something not just for ourselves, but connect us to our ancestors and connect us to our future lineage of future generations of this planet and of this cosmos. And so that amazing experience on 7/14/2020 guided me to the solar eclipse X marks the spot. Now let's go ahead and jump into some Spurs stuff here, right? Because I've been a fan for quite some time. I grew up in Temple, Texas. I was there till the age of 12. I wasn't really into basketball at that time, not until I came to San Antonio and I realized, basketball is a big part of the city here, and I enjoy watching it. And back in the day, when I came to San Antonio, David Robinson, I think he was, that was 89. Let's do some quick math here real quick. So I was born in 77. So yeah, that would be 89. I came to San Antonio pretty much right when David Robinson was drafted. And that's, just knowing that now, let's put another dot on the cosmic dot marker. David Robinson, the Admiral, being connected to the Navy, the military, there's definitely something to say about that. And there's probably some undercover information that we don't know about. Maybe these people are being groomed. Maybe we're all cosmically groomed to be predestined to these particular stories within the larger story of our evolution and of prophecies. But one thing with this city is it loves its Spurs. And, we're destined right now to win a championship with this new 7'5" alien that I mentioned earlier is playing on this. He's on the Spurs roster. He's a starter. He's 7'5". He goes by the name of Victor Wembanyama. And I didn't, he wasn't drafted when I had this extra dimensional experience. He was still young. I think, that in 2020, he got drafted in 2023. So when I discovered this and started looking at how ETs, essentially interdimensional beings, led me to this Cosmic X, I didn't know that there would be some way that it connects to the Spurs. Even though the Spurs have been part of my journey since 2014 with more of the spiritual side. Now, part of what I was going to say earlier is after being a Spurs fan, indoctrinated at the age of 12, the Spurs have been a very good team for a very long time, right? And, I can't remember what year it was, but they won 62 games. One year had the best record in the league, but didn't win a championship. David Robinson had many trophies, many, accolades, from defensive player to blocks to scoring leader, to MVPs and all of that beautiful stuff for him. But not until Tim Duncan in that era did the Spurs start winning championships. And I was older, right, than my teenage years by the time this dynasty started to, morph itself from Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, and Tony Parker, and how they reigned supreme for 20 years. And by the time we get to 2014, well, hold on. Let me actually by 2020, I'm sorry. By 2020, the Spurs are already done. They're in a rebuilding phase and they're trying to do things different. And I'm not a bandwagon Spurs person. I had a spiritual awakening that led me to many truths about how organized sports is part of the process. So there's manipulation, there's people cheating, and I wonder now who's been behind the scenes, doing all of this stuff to make these timelines happen in the way that they have as far as the NBA goes. Right? So now we're at 2020, the Spurs aren't doing good, so I'm actually not even paying attention to them that much. And not until 2023 do I start hearing all this buzz about Wemby this, HEB's talking about it, the Whitty Museum now has it, and it's the Wemby. And I'm like, what's this Wemby thing? What is this? And we drafted the number 1 pick because we sucked. We sucked for a little bit, and we gathered up some picks, and we drafted the number 1 pick. And his nickname is the Alien because he is just a freak of nature. He's, not from this planet, and he kind of owns that status now. And so Wembanyama, this athlete, this, phenomenal basketball player, he shoots threes, he can dunk it, he's bulking up so he can hold the post, he can dribble, he can, he's just doing all the things like no other player has. Like, he's actually being touted as like, hey, he's going to change the game forever. And that's a monumental feat. But check this out. So as I start looking at this guy that they're calling the Alien and start looking at, my team again and seeing like, wow, they may have like a chance with what they're building right now. So his first season in the NBA was from eclipse to eclipse. The Ring of Fire eclipse, the birthing term, brought in an alien. And this alien's first season went from October to April. From Ring of Fire eclipse to totality eclipse. And I'm here to connect these cosmic dots to a young phenomenal player that this last off season he went and trained with Shaolin monks for 10 days and came back with this new energy about him, and he's different. He's competitive in a way that makes it lighthearted. He really cares about what he's doing, and he really cares about the community. From the articles that I'm reading now, I don't know him personally, but I'd like to. I'd like to sit down and let him know, like, bro, do you know how connected you are to my story? And how I was going to say that the Spurs, I think that's why I had the date of 2014 in my head earlier. The Spurs organization is part of the process for me because they helped my children's school in 2014 win some money to build their own garden program. And I was there on day one, summer of 2014, going into 15 for the school year. Was it 2014? Anyway, we built 12 raised beds. And the school, within a couple years, by 2017, became the 7th healthiest school in the nation. And so the 7th largest city, 7th healthiest school in the nation. I'm born in 77. Sevens are all around me all the time because it's our new center point. And I'll get into that in another episode. And I believe I have talked about it. So I would recommend, if you're new here and you haven't listened to all the other episodes, to go back and listen to them. And see a lot of this information that I'm talking about. And, I want to end it at that because right now we've got to go to the Aztec Theater. Being here in San Antonio, being guided by the Galactic Calendar, which is inspired by the Mayan calendar. And I like to talk about all this stuff to a degree that we had to create an event that is the Mayan Day at a Time celebration. And we're going to go look at the Aztec Theater as a potential event for next year, possibly this year if we can get funding. So if you are a philanthropist, or you know someone, or you have some of the money yourself, like, please donate to our Give Butter crowdfunding campaign, or ship us some money somehow, some way, so we can book the event space for our Mayan Day at a Time celebration, where I do this cosmic storytelling in performance style with my friends, and bring out the DJs and the music and the tribal bass music that reminds you of your indigenous past and shows you your cosmic future. Then please support by sharing, sending us some funds, donating, just letting people know. Show up to the event. When we finally dial in where we're going to have this event, get your tickets. We've raised enough money, we won't have to sell tickets. You can come in for free. But I want to put that word out to everyone that we're open for collaboration and integration, and anyone that helps us financially out actually gets quite a bit in return. Through freebies, gifts, events, all the different stuff that we provide here with Infinite You. And again, I want to go ahead and end it right there with the Spurs and an alien playing on the basketball team that they have now, within his third year being in the NBA, 2026. He is taking the Spurs to the playoffs, which they haven't been in, I think it was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So almost a full decade have they missed the playoffs and been a subpar team, almost one of the worst teams in the league, to now being one of the best, or if not the best team in the league, from what I'm looking at and what I'm seeing. And sometimes you can have manipulation going on in the background, but at the end of the day, you're looking at players play. And I don't think that they're all in on it. This has got to be ref calls and just a lot of other things that would play into the manipulation of any of our major sports. But I'm enjoying watching this alien shoot the hoop and dunk it over people and block so many shots and have players literally turn around out of the paint because they're just scared to toss one up because it's going to probably get blocked. And I want to thank y'all so much for paying attention on this journey of connecting the cosmic dots on this 8th day of 10 within the Galactic Activation Portal Days, within the Hunab-Ku and the Galactic Butterfly. Just so you know, today is a throat chakra day. Every Wednesday is. And it is Kin 113. Red Solar Skywalker is the day. With Red Skywalker being the solar seal and solar being the tone, we are guided by universal water. And so as we also experience a full moon tonight, that connects to the waters as cosmically we do. And I want y'all to, pay attention to all the stuff we got going on here at Infinite You, and pay attention and keep an eye out for the Embody Now app and support in whatever way that you feel that you can. And we want you to love always in all ways. Peace.
It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. If I commit to make a shift, will you commit to give your gift? If we be the change that we wanna see, the shift comes down to